Hi, everyone. Sorry that I can't make it in today. I would like to have been there to kind of introduce Python programming language to you, but we'll go with what we got. Notice here under our content, we've got what you worked on yesterday was the intro to Python, and then your environment was you practiced doing that in Replit. What we've got listed here are some notes. You're going to want to read through these notes. It'll give you a bit of an introduction into the concepts behind Python, the different types of variables that exist, how we assign information to variables, and how we can get information. So declaring variables, assigning information to those variables, and then how we can actually get information from the user, the input function. So there's sample code that's there. Then the next item has a sample program that you can copy and paste into Replit. So when you go to Replit, this is all here. Unfortunately, when you copy and paste this, the formatting does not properly paste, so you'll get them kind of all in one line. If I go to Replit now, I'm going to go up to my Replits, and I've already pasted the information. Sample Python. So this is the code. When I put it in, I had to go through and in fact, I'll show you what my one error is. If I go to my history, nice thing about history is it shows you different versions of your code. So maybe at 11:51, I had an error in my code. Here we go. I'm gonna go back to this point. After I had pasted it in and went through and tried to identify where I needed to hit my enter buttons. Let's open her up. You'll see that that my code doesn't actually run. When I run it, I put in my name, I put in a number, and I get an error. It tells me the error is on line 10, and that it's a name error, that num1 is not defined. When I go to line 10, it says total is equal to num1 plus num2. That seems to make sense to me. So why does it think that num1 is not defined? Well, it turns out up in line 6, I've defined NE. When I was trying to format everything, I put the enter spot at the wrong spot. So now num1 is equal to integer, num2 is equal to integer, total is equal to num1 plus num2. Now when I run it, my code should work. My name is John. I have a number of 10 and a number of 5, and it outputs my answer. So look through, try to understand what the code does, try running it yourself, make sure you can get it to work. Once that's done, you can go on to the introduction to programming. So that's our example of simple ICO program. And the next link is just takes you right to Replit. And now, instead of going into my Replits, you can go into our class ICS3U 2018. That's your course. And we now have a series of questions. So sequential 1, if you open that up, the instructions say create a program which will allow the user to input their first, middle, and last names and 2 integers. Their program should calculate the sum of the 2 integers and output the user's full name and the sum of the integers. So here you're going to input your code here. So it's going to ask for the user's first name. So I'm going to maybe call fname. Fname is equal to input, quote, what is your first name? The question mark. I like to put a space. And the sum of 2 integers. So I'm also going to maybe call int1. Actually, I'll probably go with num1 is equal to integer, because I got to convert this to an integer. Input, what is your first integer? This is just a quick sample to see how this might run. I now run it. The code runs down in this environment. What is your first name? My first name is John. What is your first integer? It's 5. That's all it does at the moment. But when you're finished with the problem, you can say submit, and then I'll have access to see your work. Okay. Sorry I can't be there. I should be